So this is Zimaya Sharaf Blend, and the reason why I blind bought this thing right here is because, at least when it comes to its bottle design, looks super similar to one of my fragrances for life, Kilian Angels Share. So Sharaf Blend is the first fragrance I bought from Zimaya. I have not tried this. I'm gonna try it for the first time and share my thoughts on it with you. So these will be my first impressions of Zimaya Sharaf Blend, and not a comparison of this and Angels Share or this and Lattafa Khamrah Kawa or the OG Lattafa Khamrah. Please do let me know in the comments if you want me to do a comparison of this and these. Some of the notes in Zimaya Sharaf Blend are dates, nutmeg and saffron, vanilla, praline and tuberose. And then we have tonka bean, amberwood, benzoin and musk. So this will be exciting for sure. First up in the air like always. Okay, interesting and up in the air. This reminds me more of Lattafa Khamrah than Angels Share. So let's try on skin as well. Okay, yeah, same thing on skin actually. Like first sniff of this first impressions, this reminds me more of Lattafa Khamrah than Angels Share. And the opening straight away, at least to me, is like a rich and quite intense dose of spiciness with a bit of or quite a prominent dose of sweetness. The opening, even though it's quite intensely spicy rich, to me at least, it's very smooth. So in this intensely spicy opening, I do feel that the cinnamon is the spice that cuts through the most. And its sweetness, this is quite sweet in the opening, but I don't find this to be overly sweet. And perhaps I could be wrong. I do need to do a proper comparison of this and Khamrah. But Khamrah, at least to me, does feel like it has sort of a more sweet scent profile. And this also has a hint or nuances of booziness to it. But again, I do feel that Lattafa Khamrah is more boozy than this. And this is nowhere near the booziness of the OG Angels Share. In a way, that's the opening in a nutshell. This is intensely spicy, with the cinnamon being the most prominent part of that spiciness. It is sweet, but at least based on this first impression, I don't feel that this is overly sweet or cloying sweet or anything like that. It has nuances of something sort of a boozy to it, but I don't feel this is anywhere near the booziness of Khamrah and Angels Share. As Zimaya Sharaf Blend heads into the mids, I feel this turns into a primarily vanillic scent with a more intense dose of sweetness. So its sweetness is definitely more intense as it heads into the mid. Now this is supposed to have praline, but maybe I'm getting something praline-ish, but mostly I feel that its sweetness is just growing in intensity as it heads into the mid. This is also supposed to have tuberose in it, and I'm picking up on something that just gives the mids a bit of a twist. But if you compare this with fragrances that have a prominent dose of tuberose in it, then this ain't it. So maybe it's just my nose that I can't pick up on that tuberose properly, but I do feel there's something in the mids giving it a bit of a twist, a bit of a nuance, adds a bit of nuance to it. But I do not feel, and please do correct me if you feel I'm wrong, but I do not feel the tuberose in here is something prominent or intense. So yeah, I mean, the mid's vanillic, so if you don't enjoy vanilla, then make sure you stay away, because the vanilla in here is quite prominent. And I do feel that as this heads into the mids, it reminds me even more of Lattafa Khamrah, and it could almost be, at least from like the opening through to the mids, like a mix of Lattafa Khamrah and Lattafa Khamrah Kawa but without the coffee. The dry down, to me at least, is ambery first, so you have this quite nice warmth and shine around it, with a prominent dose of vanilla and a prominent dose of sweetness. This, however, still, even though it has a prominent dose of sweetness, I don't feel it, and someone is probably going to disagree with me on this, but I don't feel its sweetness ever becomes too cloying or overly sweet. So ambery, vanillic and sweet in the dry down with a bit of spiciness. I don't feel this is overly sweet. The amberiness brings it a fantastic sort of a warmth and shine around it. This has a hint of booziness to it, but I do not feel it's as boozy as the other two. So I really feel I need to do a proper comparison of a Zimaya Sharaf Blend and at least Lattafa Khamrah and Lattafa Khamrah Kawa and Angels Share as well. I do feel that this reminds me more of Khamrah than Angels Share. This is definitely not as sweet and not as boozy as any of these two. So whereas the original Angels Share is loud, intense, with a massive dose of personality, with a big dose of booziness, a big dose of sweetness, quite a prominent dose of woodiness, this is not that. This is like, hey, I'm gonna tone it down a bit, I'm gonna make it less in your face. So yeah, in a way, this has slightly less personality than Angels Share. This has the most similarity to Khamrah. Drop a like on this video and let me know in the comments if you want me to do a proper comparison of these. So here are my initial thoughts on compliments and mass appeal. This sort of goes in the same direction as Angels Share, even though it's not the same as Angels Share, and it definitely goes in the sort of the same direction as Lattafa Khamrah. This is definitely a mass appealing sweet kind of scent, and when it comes to usage, so like occasions, versatility, seasons and stuff like that, this is definitely something I feel leans more towards spring, fall and winter, but this will probably develop in a fantastic way on summer night outs as well. As for occasions, I mean, you can definitely wear this to pretty much any occasion, maybe not to the gym, but to like formal and casual occasions. So you could wear this to work, you could wear this to school, and I bet a lot of people will think you smell really good. However, I do feel that this leans slightly more towards something casual. So like if you are going out, if you are going on a date and like special occasions. So who's this fragrance for? I do think that if you enjoy Lattafa Khamrah and Lattafa Khamrah Kawa, then you will most likely enjoy this. Do you need Sharaf Blend if you have one of those? No. If you absolutely love Angels Share, will you love this? This is where things get sort of a bit tricky, in that this has similarities to Angels Share, but it's not as boozy, it's not as sweet, it's not as intense and in your face, beautifully intense in your face. So you might enjoy this, you will probably enjoy this. However, you will most likely also find that this is not this feels different. But I do think that if you enjoy both of these and Khamrah, then you will most likely enjoy Sharaf Blend. With that said, if you enjoy spicy fragrances, if you enjoy fragrances that are dominated by something vanillic, something sweet, then you will most likely enjoy this. And the same thing if we turn that around, if you absolutely dislike or do not want something vanillic, if you usually do not enjoy sweet fragrances, then this is definitely something you should stay away from. So what are some other alternatives to Zimaya Sharaf Blend? I think that I already pretty much talked about the alternatives. We have Lattafa Khamrah and Lattafa Khamrah Kawa. This in a way is almost, at least based on my first impressions of it, like a mix of Lattafa Khamrah, Lattafa Khamrah Kawa without Khamrah Kawa's coffee. So I would say Khamrah for something that is sort of similar to this, Kawa if you want something similar to this but with a dose of coffee in it, and of course the OG Angels Share. However, do not expect Angels Share to be the same as Sharaf Blend. This is more intense, it has a much bigger dose of booziness, sweetness and woodiness. But this is one of my fragrances for life and something I absolutely love. So let's talk about price. I looked up what I paid for this and I paid about 35 bucks for it, but that was on sale. I believe this one retails for something around 50 bucks. So this sort of is on the same price point as Lattafa Khamrah Kawa. So it's definitely not something that is expensive. I highly recommend taking a look around at different discounters to see if you can find it even cheaper. I really like it. I think this smells way more expensive than it actually is. And I think this is a great one if you enjoy all the things I previously explained in this video. However, if you are one of those who already have Khamrah, then I'm gonna say probably skip out on this one. Now, I would absolutely love to know how you feel about Zimaya Sharaf Blend. Is it a like? Is it a dislike? Is it a love? And how do you feel? Do you sort of share my thoughts on that this is quite similar to Lattafa Khamrah?